hookers in like 80s and 90s movies had more rules than like Gremlins did. And like, don't kiss on the lips and don't feed me after midnight.
Right. Because I'll start soliciting next to an ice cream shop in the suburbs.
Like so.
You're back.
Welcome to Cinematics Problematics, where we celebrate your guilty pleasures. I'm Krissie Rettig.
And I am Erin Maxwell. And today we are watching a delightful family film about three young boys who use their lunch money to go and wander to the great big city of Philadelphia so they can see boobies. And to their delight, where instead of being robbed and attacked by a homeless man, which almost happens to them, they get to meet Melanie Griffith in purple velour. And had the movie ended there, it would have been a perfect film. But alas, the movie continues.
And boy, does it ever.
Yeah. And in what is called by many people as a movie that is summoned from misogyny hell, we welcome the movie Milk Money, made in 1994. Krissie, what were your thoughts on this delightful family film?
Well, Erin. Okay, so unlike most of the other movies that we have done, I had never seen this. And I started watching, and I knew it was probably going to go into that territory of kind of like little boys like learning about sex, as they like to do like in the 80s and 90s. And I gotta be honest, either my moral compass is broken or this film wasn't that bad beyond the fact that they treat women like shit and have no respect for sex workers.
Correct. For those who haven't seen the full film, they end up, after seeing boobies, which I'm sure were delightful.
I'm sure they're great.
Melanie Griffith kindly takes them home, her character V, kindly takes them home to their suburb away from Philadelphia in their beautiful little town, and is being chased by the mob for reasons. So she opts to live in one of the boys' treehouse. Frank's treehouse. And then Frank hatches a plan where she is going to fall in love with his grieving father, his widowed father, played by Ed Harris. And romance is on the horizon, and then hijinks ensue. And there's a mob subplot and also a bizarre subplot dealing with the wetlands.
Yeah, there's wetlands for some odd reason in this film. It makes no sense whatsoever. But yeah, I was a little bit confused. Was it the mob, or is it like a pimp hierarchy? Like Cash was her initial pimp, and then there was Waltzer, and then there's Jerry the Pope, who, by the way, played the executive dude in Working Girl.
Yes, these pimps seemed too powerful for the general world, so it seemed like they were almost mob-ish.
I buy it.
So I just want to say that whoever wrote this film, I think we looked it up, Matson, has no concept of how sex work actually works, or what a pimp does,
or adult dialogue, or how that works.
Adults interact with each other really on any normal level. So he was just taking shots in the dark. So yeah, I think at the most he was just kind of like, pimps, that's like the mob, sure. And then he just kind of went with that.
Yeah, I don't even know if pimps work for the mob or what, but I mean, I trust your instincts on this.
They don't.
Okay.
Most of them don't. They just have a stable of hoes, and then they
stable of hoes?
Yeah. And then the hoes go out and they make money, and then they bring it back to Mr. Pimp, and then that's their hierarchy, and that's it. And maybe the pimp has other people he reports to, perhaps, or maybe not, or maybe he's just
They always seemed independent to me, like freelancers.
No, yeah, very, very independent. This seemed like very much like there was like a chain of command.
Yeah. So, like most pimps work off of a 1040, I think.
It was and they all seem to live in a series of very nice condos.
Yeah, they were pretty nice.
Yeah.
Oh, and Anne Heche is in it, by the way. Very young Anne Heche as a ditzy prostitute that does nothing but say inane things and get freaked out over nothing.
This movie lived in a pocket universe where nothing made sense.
Yeah, there are several things in this film that do not make sense. Human behavior does not make sense in this film.
I want to say that every character, with the exception of the children in this movie, at some point was in a very long coma that just recently woke up and now have to relearn human behavior and were unsuccessful. Because all of the adult dialogue was ridiculous.
Yeah, it just, and every parent is like a total square. Like, it's as if, like, I think that's like a carriover from like the 80s too.
Yeah.
Because every parent that you met was just like aggressively uncool.
Like, their clothing choices are atrocious. Like Ed Harris is walking around in like a Rastafarian tie for like 50% of the movie. And
well, you know, he's trying to save the wetlands, Erin. And that's how you earn your hippie badge, is by wearing Rastafarian ties.
I just think the costume designer hated him.
That's possible.
I think the costume designer hated everybody on this film because every woman is in a horrifying outfit and every adult is just in a badly fitted suit. And at the end, all the kids go to like a 1950s sock hop, which no kid, even in the 80s, would go to.
I don't recall any kind of sock hops or anything when I was that young. Like, do they even know how people dressed or what a sock hop is? I mean, that was just like, what, 30 years prior?
Okay. Because I was stoned when I watched this and I spent a lot of time thinking about that.
You actually need to be stoned while watching this.
Yes, it's mandatory. I think if you open up a DVD case now, like, it comes with like a dime bag. But like,
and it comes with a note
and
that
a
says
Rastafarian tie.
It comes with a note that says you're going to need this.
Yeah, save the wetlands. I think that because the screenwriter was so out of touch, he was just kind of pulling from his own kind of wheelhouse. And he must have been, when he was younger, was a fan of Happy Days.
Oh, yeah.
And so he probably went to sock hops because when he was younger, like Happy Days was a thing. And so he's like, sock hops, that's a thing.
Of course kids go to sock hops
because
in the 90s.
70s, I went to sock hops because the 70s, the 50s were really big. Just like in the 90s, the 70s were really big. Yeah, so that's kind of how that worked. So I kind of thought that's maybe what happened.
Right.
Look, I'm trying to explain a lot, but there's a lot you just really can't explain. But like, I can't explain the Randy Newman songs. I can't explain that seemed really out of place.
Well, because they mixed it with like current 90s music too.
Yeah.
Like there were like these pop songs in the beginning and then they kind of forgot that pop existed. And then they didn't ever use it ever again.
And I can't explain Malcolm McDowell's existence in this film.
He needed a beach house.
Yeah, I wrote that down. I wrote down that he needed a beach house. I said we should all be proud that Malcolm McDowell got that beach house that he needed.
Yes, because there was absolutely no other reason for an actor of his caliber to be in a film like this.
He owed money. He was in debt. He had gambling issues. He needed a beach house. The roof on his house collapsed. A numerous amount of issues that brought him to this film. But whatever it was, it brought an unneeded edge to the film where it was like all of a sudden ritualistic murders where a man's penis was ripped off was brought into the, or his heart was ripped out.
His heart was ripped out.
His heart was ripped out. I don't know why I said penis, because maybe that would have made it better.
Well, we are talking about prostitution.
That is
all.
true. That is true.
I'm sure it was top of mind.
Should we talk about the sins?
Sure. What? I mean, yeah, I'm going to let you lead because once again, I think my morality is slightly broken because I didn't find too many things where, like, there were a couple of things where I was like, that's inappropriate. But I think like the biggest thing is just the concept on its own, right?
Yeah. This movie came out in 1994. And in 1994, there was a few problematic kids movies that came out around the same time. And this movie was lumped with those movies. And the number one that comes to mind is Blank Check. Because in Blank Check, you had former VJ Duff fully kissing on the mouth a very young boy. And that caused a lot of parents to go up in arms. And because this movie also came out around that same time, when you look back on that year, you see 1994 was the year of problematic kids movies because you had kids going out and hiring hookers, you had kids going out and making out with adults, and you had kids doing other inappropriate things. And that's how this movie kind of got lumped. And that's why it earned a lot of notoriety, is because of when it came out with these other films. That being said, it is very misogynistic. It is very not great. And that's mostly because it's a badly written movie.
Yeah, I mean, they try to kind of offset the misogyny a little bit by making her just very likable and very charming. And, you know, the classic hooker with a heart of gold, right? It's like she's a great person. She seems like a very caring person. Well, yeah, I mean, I was charmed by her in this. I thought she was actually good for what the material was. You know, I think that she tried her best. You know, I don't think she was bad in it at all. I don't think Ed Harris was bad in it at all. And the little kid who played Frank, I thought was adorable. But yeah, I mean, the movie definitely makes it a point to talk about women like they're not human and like they treat them like trash and things and possessions and unworthy of basic decency and respect. That is probably the biggest problem with it.
It really leans heavily into every terrible trope you can think about, both of sex workers and of women.
Yeah.
Just women need you to buy them nice things. Women need to be dazzled. Sex workers are things without any kind of brains. And though Melanie Griffith as a character tries to push back a little bit by knowing like the Latin names for birds and things like that, for the most part, she plays directly into it. Especially like they bring her back to the small town. They try to get her settled in the treehouse. They give her a sleeping bag and candy and comic books so she can get settled. Presumably a bucket for her to shit into. They try to get her comfy. And immediately she goes to an ice cream parlor so she can start soliciting for money.
Yeah, that wasn't a good idea. I mean, you would think that somebody like that has like enough street smarts would know. I mean, first it's like you have a place to stay. Where is she going to take these guys? You know, like these married men that are crawling all throughout Middleton and walking down the street with their families and shit. It's like the logistics on that, she should have known better.
Go to a bar. Go to a bar, a hotel bar. You know, like classy prostitutes do.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like something along those lines. That would make more sense. But clearly there's like families milling about. There's families inside the ice cream parlor watching her. She's becoming a scene.
Yes. And especially like she's not dressed like everybody else. I mean, you know, I don't want to speak to the fashion sense of her dress. She looks great. The dress, I don't know. I would never wear it. But, you know, it obviously stuck out in that environment. And she's got to know that. And for some odd reason, this character seems to be, you can tell me if I'm being overly complimentary, but she seems to have high emotional intelligence. You know, it's like she was good with like the little boy and stuff, you know, but just does stupid shit. It didn't make sense. Like, because like on one hand, they are trying to pit her as definitely smarter than like something like Anne Heche's character, who is just a complete airhead.
She's just window dressing.
She's window dressing. She looks gorgeous, but she's just sitting there being kind of ditzy, not knowing what's going on. She's kind of like, yeah, she's an airhead. And by contrast, Melanie Griffith's character is like fucking Stephen Hawking, you know, like way smarter.
No, seriously.
There was like this weird contrast between these moments that she has with the kid and Ed Harris, and then just doing things that just didn't make any fucking sense, you know? All right, sins. Do you want to start with an explicit sin that we should talk about besides just like the overarching misogyny?
The real crime here is putting children in sexual situations.
Yes.
And that is really what this movie is known for. And I feel like that's a reputation that it has, but it's not really that bad when you watch the film. Like,
it's not, I mean, because boys are talking like 12-year-old boys do. They don't know anything about the female anatomy. You know, they think a diaphragm is a sippy cup or something, you know? I was like, please don't drink out of that thing. That all seemed very natural because they're 12. They're 12. And the curiosity is normal. The way they sought it out was a little bit over the top.
Yeah. And when it was actual scenes where they were trying to get Melanie Griffith's character into a sexual situation, they never go forward with it completely. At some point, the main character, Frank, closes his eyes because he's too respectful. And that's kind of cute.
It's kind of cute. And I think it would be normal to be a little bit scared being in this red lit hotel room with a grown woman who's about to undress for you for the first time, you know? And like the other kids, it made sense that they, you know, continue to look or whatever, but it was, it was uncomfortable for sure, but it could have been so much worse.
And there's also a scene in the taxi where she like makes him lift up their shirts so she can check for hair.
That
and
was
I'm
just
like,
so odd.
It was such an odd thing. Again, I was talking about this earlier. I'm like, hookers in like 80s and 90s movies had more rules than like Gremlins did. And like boys without hair are like, those are fine. And don't kiss on the lips. And don't feed me after midnight.
Right. Because I'll start soliciting next to an ice cream shop in the suburbs.
Like, but yeah, it was just, so she had a lot of rules. But anyway, that was a weird one. Anyway, so like the next scene, like also they bring her in because Frank at some point is failing sex education because he doesn't know how a woman's body works.
You know what? And that was weird actually too, because in the beginning he seemed the most knowledgeable.
Yes.
It's like they find that diaphragm. He knows it's a diaphragm. It's like, what 12-year-old knows what a diaphragm looks like? And his other two friends were complete idiots about it. You know, he seemed to know like about the female anatomy. He seemed to know about the science behind it, but yet he's failing sex ed.
Yeah, but his father seems really sex positive. Like every joke that they have seems like a setup where it seems like his father's caught in some weird sex talk.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it seems like that's all his dad does is talk about sex. You'd think his son would know more, at least leave, you know.
I mean, Ed Harris's character, like, in fairness, didn't want to talk about his mom or how sex worked or anything like that. He kind of like shied away from that a bit.
Yeah, but no one's asking you, like, give me explicit details about how you banged mom.
Nobody wants to know that shit.
Yeah, no, but you could be two separate things. Like, how does sex work? Also, on another day or another week or another month, like, tell me about mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did not want to talk about mom. And he said, well, it's something that you do when you're in love and want to have babies. And I mean, that's kind of the talk that I would imagine that most 12-year-olds get the talk like that before getting actual sexual education from their parents, because at that age parents are still oblivious to the fact that your kid is starting to feel all of these things, right? Or they don't want to face it themselves. So
they bring V in to be the model for the sex ed class, so the kid Frank can get a passing grade, and she's wearing like some sort of leotard, and he draws on her to show where the fallopian tubes are and to show all that, and again uses her as a living. I don't know why she had to be there.
Right. I guess I get why he locked the teacher out, but I was like, dude, how are you going to get your grade if you lock the teacher out?
Like, that is not how school works. Like, You're doing a presentation for the teacher, not for these kids. These kids are not grading you.
No, but I think that he got some fans from that presentation. Also, I'm pretty sure those ovaries were actually like her lungs or some shit. Like, those were way too high up.
Yeah. Well, she's just very tall. I just don't think he could reach. I don't know what the...
Well, no, he had to go lower.
Oh, that's right.
He had to go like way lower.
Maybe her jeans were too high. Maybe she just couldn't like...
jeans. Yeah, she couldn't... Well, she unzips her pants.
God damn!
In the classroom,
excuses for it. It's unexcusable.
No, that scene
failed.
He failed. That scene was problematic because she's like wearing like this nude leotard, and he takes a red Sharpie or whatever it is, and then starts to draw. These are the ovaries, and these are the fallopian tubes, and now we're going to talk about intercourse. And I was like, oh dear God! I mean, the teacher saved us, by getting the keys and getting into the room.
And as bad as this movie's reputation is about putting kids in sexual situations, the truth is like this movie's just a bad movie where 90% of the script is sexual innuendo and like terrible dialogue.
Even like when the teacher said oral presentation, I'm just on sex education. I was just like, could have been a different phrase for that one. I don't know.
Yeah.
She's a terrible teacher.
I mean, all the adults in this film are bad at their jobs and bad at talking to each other.
But yes, the dialogue is completely unnatural. It is like this writer did not grow up in actual suburbs or something and didn't hear actual adults talk ever, because a lot of it is like this really stunted, like they're all squares too. They're all like very conservatively dressed and everything. Like there's not one normal adult in the entire movie except for Ed Harris.
That's questionable. That's super questionable, because I really feel that even his dialogue was pretty terrible. The make love conversation that he has with V in the treehouse made me want to rip my flesh off.
Yeah. I don't want to have sex with you. I want to make love to you. Erin is ripping off her skin as we speak.
I hate it so much.
But I mean, if we're grading on a scale
compared to everybody else in this town,
oh my gosh, she's totally normal.
I mean, I put Malcom McDowell before I put this guy.
Yeah, but I have no idea how the wetlands made it in there. I think that's supposed to be like another piece of like sexual innuendo probably, because it is the most random thing that, okay, he's a science teacher and he spends like the rest of his time saving the wetlands.
If I had to take a guess, I had to say that there was a different movie planned altogether.
Really?
A different script. And then studio interference and then editing. We ended up with this.
It almost felt like there was no studio interference, because why the fuck are the wetlands in this movie?
Okay, one of three possible scenarios.
All
the
right.
one I just came up with, which is studio interference and bad editing for whatever reason, because they needed a family film. Because this, again, rated PG, I believe.
Really?
Maybe PG-13, but very much PG, yes.
Okay.
And all the trailers I watched were definitely marketed as a hijinks comedy, take your grandma to a Sunday movie kind of situation.
Right.
So I think it was
Don't
either,
take grandma to this movie. Don't watch it with grandma, please.
Do you hate your grandma?
Watch it with her.
Take fucking grandma to this movie. Fuck grandma.
Yeah.
So I think either it was a studio interference situation. It was either just always a bad movie, and then or maybe there was a good script and then a bad director. Mm-hmm. But I just don't see that being the case.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how this movie got made. I don't know how this movie came together. A lot of the things that, especially Melanie Griffith's character does.
Because Melanie Griffith she was Oscar nominated at this point.
Yeah, this was like 5 years after Working Girl or something.
Everybody in this movie with all the above the title actors are big names.
Yeah.
With Oscar nominations and, big movies behind them and like solid films.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for some odd reason, they decided to do this one.
And they all needed beach houses at the same time. Maybe they all wanted to live next to each other.
Maybe.
It was a big plot.
That would be a great excuse for what happened here.
Listen, if Melanie Griffith, Malcolm, and Ed are all living next to each other and sharing a beach house, I would be tickled. That would make me so happy.
I would just be so happy to learn that they're all friends,
They summer together. That would be the best end for this movie, is I learned that they all had a deep friendship.
Yes.
And then they summer together in the beach house that this movie paid for.
And you have like Malcolm McDowell getting on, on conference call with Ed Harris and Melanie Griffith and saying, hey, do you want to go to our beach house for the 4th of July or something like that?
And
adorable.
Melanie chuckles and says, wear that Rastafarian tie. And then they all laugh like it's an inside joke.
Exactly.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
No, they all dress like Rastafarians for 4th of July. And they barbecue and drink beer. Like cheap beer.
Adult Frank shows up. Oh,
yeah.
This scenario makes me so happy. We made the most beautiful sequel right now.
We did. I think that we should write this.
Yes.
This is actually a better movie.
And no hookers at all. I want V to go back and get her PhD. She really invested time in that ice cream parlor.
She needs to get her MBA because now she has to run a business.
She's a bird expert. She's an expert in bird law. She's saving the wetland. She's like an expert in bird law.
Yeah. She's multifaceted.
If we're going off the deep end, I'm driving us there.
Yes, you already drove us there. We are in the water as we speak, and we can't roll the windows down. So thank you for that.
Oh, goodness.
All right. So other sins.
Honestly, that's kind of about it. Other than the fact that it's like, listen, this movie is it's a victim of tragic writing. Everybody else in it is, the acting is solid. They just don't have anything to do.
Well, they have really bad dialogue to deliver. That's something. They have to attempt to make it work at least. And Ed Harris and Melanie, they do their best.
They do their best. Very best.
With the material that they're given.
And the kids in it are good.
Yeah. No, the kids are great.
When the kids are just talking to themselves, that dialogue I don't mind.
Yeah, it was very Goonies-esque, but with more sex.
Yeah.
In it, which is fine because that's how 12-year-old boys talk.
Yeah, and so all of that is fine, and then also all the other. If I had to do another sin, it would be just any of the other characters, all of them, all of the other characters, all of the other men are terrible because they're all just either beating on women or they're trying to hire hookers. They shouldn't be parents,
or they're calling them out, and trying to get them killed or something.
And then all the women are just catty and evil. It's just they're all stereotypes.
And they're not likable stereotypes.
No, not at all.
It's they're not even fun to watch.
There's not a lot of fun in this film.
No. I mean, I think it's the little thumb wrestling dance thing. I thought that was kind of cute, to try to get him to move or whatever. I thought that was kind of sweet. I don't know.
I kind of thought watching this movie, because I had seen this before many, many years ago, and I remembered some of the scenes, especially the scenes with her living in the treehouse, her being hired out and showing the boobies and the car scene, and but that's really all I remember. I remember there was some sort of mob plot as well. I did remember the wetlands. I did remember that there was a stupid wetlands plot.
Oh my God.
And honestly, I believe the reputation of it got into my mind more than the actual shittiness of the film. So I thought that kind of almost elevated the film to the point where I thought it made it more than what it was.
Okay.
Because the truth is this isn't any worse than just a shitty rom-com.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it does one of those things that I personally hate when movies do it. It's where there's a misunderstanding. And people just don't ask the right questions, right? And this ruse of her being a math tutor because Frank tells Tom that she's actually a math tutor and not a prostitute. I mean, the two professions couldn't be more different. It's first of all, pick maybe something a little bit closer to being a prostitute.
And it goes on forever.
Say she's in sales or something. I don't know. But it goes on forever. And they just never ask the right questions or ask for help when there is help sitting right there. Melanie Griffith at several points is I'm leaving, right? Yeah. And at one point she takes $50 out of his wallet and then leaves, but then goes to the dance. Yeah. And it's why? I thought you were leaving. Why did you take the 50? I guess you intended to get on a bus to actually leave, but then she decides to go to the dance, which is fucking random. And I guess they're to support Frank. But so many of the decisions she makes is just I'm leaving, and I'm just not going to talk about why I'm leaving when this guy obviously adores her, from the jump, and it's she could have just been look, after they got the whole prostitute stuff out of the way and he knows what she really is, there were so many opportunities for her to just be straight up, and she wasn't, to create this manufactured drama of I'm leaving and getting us all sad because Frank is sad and he just wants a mom, which is always going to get me, little Frank, missing his mom and just wanting a mother figure. That got me a little bit. I was just oh, that's so sad.
He pointedly tears up the picture and throws out. I'm that's
and throws away the locket.
Bleh, whatever.
You have no heart.
I'm dead inside. I don't care.
You have no heart. But that did get me a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, they just make characters that we're supposed to do stupid shit. They treat women like absolute trash throughout the movie. Even if for the women who weren't prostitutes in the film, they're either uptight, they're dense, they're completely unaware of reality and stuff. They're just not very intelligent people. It was very stilted, just all of the characterizations, and except for Melanie Griffith, Frank, the kids, and Ed Harris. But they just make them do stupid shit.
I think this movie believes with all of its heart that it's charming, and it's not.
I totally agree. Totally agree.
With all of its heart, from the Randy Newman songs to the little oopsie daisy misunderstanding, I'm actually a hooker.
Yeah, not a math tutor.
It just wants us to think that it's charming, but in actuality, there's nothing about this film that's charming.
It's a hot mess.
It's a hot mess.
It's a hot mess. It's a hot misogynistic mess that has no respect for sex workers or their reality, right?
Yeah.
Of what they do. I mean, yeah, it just
or really real estate, because really, as you said, who's going to like pay? She finds at the end of the movie, she finds $250,000, which he uses to buy the wetlands, buy a house, and buy an ice cream shop.
Yeah, who can do that on that salary?
Monopoly, maybe.
Yeah, maybe Monopoly. You can buy a couple of properties, but I don't know the conversion. Like it's got to be maybe like $400,000 today, but still, she bought an entire friggin' wetlands and an ice cream shop. She could get one, right?
You get one.
Not
you don't
both.
get both.
Didn't she have a new car or something at the end too?
She had a lot of things going on. I'm sure. Well, didn't have to buy clothes. She was wearing that dead woman's clothes.
Oh, yeah. That's just not creepy at all.
Oh, yeah. They dressed her up in dead mom's clothes too. So she's wandering around looking like dead mom.
Yeah. And like these flowy, flowery dresses and everything. And it's just not... I think she's going to have to refresh that wardrobe.
Yeah, 80s cottagecore.
That's a perfect definition of it. But yeah, the movie is all over the place. It's kind of gross. It's kind of weird to put children in these overly sexualized situations. You know, before this, like Erin and I were talking about, like curiosity of 12-year-old boys is always there. You know, like now they just become porn addicts, you know, but so the curiosity is there, misunderstanding the female anatomy is there, not understanding how sex work is there. That is all totally normal and natural. But the way that they learn about it and how it unfolds, especially like in the sex ed class, was a little bit disturbing and didn't serve the purpose of getting him a better grade either, because you can't do that when you lock the teacher out. It's just all over the place. And you do empathize with her character. Ed Harris is such a fucking great actor. Like, you want him to find love, you know, and you want the little boy to stop crying whenever Melanie Griffith leaves. And that's about as charming as it gets. Like, that's about like the emotional depth of it.
You know, I thought Ed Harris now entered his freaky era with like Love Lies Bleeding and Riff Raff. And really it started like in 1994, and I just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but he tries to normalize it. You know what I mean? It's like he tries to act so normal that it takes the edge off the creepiness a bit, you know, because he is kind of like a charming dad character. He's obviously like a really great dad to his son, you know, takes care of him, speed eats dinner with him, you know.
I mean, okay, the fact that this kid doesn't have scurvy, I mean, like... someone should kind of call authorities just to check up on the kid and maybe give him like some sort of like, hey, here's a vegetable.
You know what? I grew up on Hungry Man dinners. It took me back so hard to when I was little. I used to love those Thanksgiving Hungry Man dinners. Like the only thing that was missing from theirs was the cranberry sauce, which was kind of criminal. But I grew up on that. I grew up on that, Campbell's soup, ramen noodles.
I did too. I had the fried chicken where like the mashed potatoes and then the brownie were too close to each other. And then like you got this weird chocolate flavored like mashed potatoes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Listen, I had that too, but they ate it every day for this kid's life to the point where he didn't remember a real meal.
Yeah, I did it on weekends.
My mom threw in a salad every now and then because she's like, they're not growing. Like, no, they're kind of runty. Like, you know, like she cared. Like,
right.
It was important to get some of the other food groups in there, not just starch.
I don't know. It brought back memories for me, and I think that was like part of the charm of their relationship. But you're right. There were no vegetables to be found on that plate.
I mean, that's not a cinema sin. That's just us, like, you know.
That's just dads being dads.
That's just dads. That's just dadding.
That's just dadding hard. So yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I do see some problems with it. It's not nearly anything like St. Elmo's Fire level or Soul Man level or anything like that. It's terrible, but it has splashes of charm. It has little sprinklings of it for me at least.
Listen, it doesn't offend me at all. It's just badly written.
Yeah.
It's just a badly written movie. And so would I recommend it? No. Would I talk about it all the time? Yes. You know, because at the end of the day, you have a very beautiful Melanie Griffith in a hot purple velour dress that I will always think about fondly. doing one of the worst movies she's probably ever made in a very long time.
Yeah, how do you go from Working Girl to this?
Oh, well, there were movies in between there. I'm just having a hard time thinking what they are because this movie has erased them for me.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I can definitely see that. But she did her best. She did bring some much needed kind of like emotional heft to the film, like along with Ed Harris, as did Little Frank. But yeah, it's so weird. And it's like, it was so unnecessary. I don't know what I learned from this film. And not that every film has to teach me something profound or anything, but the misogyny was so deep that it's hard to see anything else.
Yeah, I learned nothing. I learned nothing. In fact, I forgot things.
Right.
It erased parts of my brain, and now I'm less of a human.
I can see why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to watch like a documentary on Vietnam or something now.
So Chuck.
Yeah, we're gonna check this one.
Yeah,
we're gonna check. It's like I'm lightly checking it.
Yeah,
I'm just kind of like kicking it to the side a little bit, like gently. It's not like a full blown Chuck, like me bazooka launching a missile that is St. Elmo's fire into the atmosphere,
which I completely disagree with on every single level. I will always cherish. I will jump up into the air like Michael Jordan and save that movie from the abyss. She chucks it that hard. But that being said, this movie gets a light shove with the foot. Just a light, just knock it out of the way.
Yeah, I'm like shoveling it, just like smacking it to the side with my foot.
Yeah, it's nothing atrocious.
Okay. I'm glad that we
agree.
We agree. We did this.
Okay.
All right.
This was something that we did.
This is a thing that we did.
This is a thing that we did.
And we'll pick something really horrific next time for you guys.
Yeah. We'll never speak of this movie again.
No, not necessary.
Not necessary.
But thank you for making me watch it.
No worries.
Actually, no, I don't. I would take that back.
It'll all be forgotten soon.
Thank God.
Okay.
All right. This is us, Krissie Rettig and Erin Maxwell.
Adios.
Signing off.